Alright, so I got the GPS set, but I just wanted the visual representation of the altitude and the airspeed. But this is going to be an interesting one. I'm going to play a YouTube clip from a guy that actually explained what Knysna is. I'm just going to fly to Knoetzie quickly and make a turn by Knoetzie, and then on my way back, I'm just going to land at the airfield.
Eerste nasie van die syde.
This is the guy
van die
from how Knysna's name
epidemie
design.
van die 1700s. Het Korra besluit hy gaan die Kaap verlaat. Dit was gesien as boosheid. As die koning sê,
This is from McCoy's son.
en al die stamme getrek. Hulle toe begin trek. Toe kom hulle by 'n plek waar hulle 'n pragtige natuurverskynsel sien. Mense van die area waar ons nou is. Die chief het agtergebly het, sy naam was Knysna. Hulle word door die mense van Knysna.
This story about the people of Knys, or Knysna, is but one of many as to how this place came by its name and what it means. Some say the word Knysna means place of the ferns, while some say it means place of great beauty. But it may just as well mean place of forests or place of timber, as that is what passengers on passing ships would have seen as they looked to the indigenous forests over the Knysna estuary through the now famous Knysna Heads. And while the first European settler in Knysna, Stephanus Terblans, had already settled on his farm Melkhout Kraal by 1770, it is timber that led to the town's existence. The Dutch East India Company settlement in the Cape had been growing steadily, and new sources of timber had to be found. Governor Plettenberg travelled eastwards in 1778, and soon woodcutter posts were established in present-day George and Plettenberg Bay.
My pa was van die Siskei geweest. My ma was van Tsitsikamma geweest. En daar vandaan het hulle toe na Eiland toe gekom. En daar het hulle dan jare gewerk. En ons het toe later op 'n highway kom bly. Want my pa daar gewoon en my oupa het onder in die langs die rivier het hulle, die Kona rivier het hulle gewoon. My pa werk toe daai tyd in Bosbou. Dieselfde area waar ons nou min of meer is, ek meen ons is nou in Goudveld. Ons staan nou hierso by Benningo Mine. Wat ek nou goed onthou, is die boiler wat daar heel bo staan. Hom met ons gaan uithaal in 'n sytak van die rivier by die Omtini rivier. En toe ons daar by die boom, by die boiler kom, toe daar so 'n blackout swartout boom wat deur sy wiel gegroei het. En in die 100 jaar wat hy daar gestaan het, het hy nog op sy eie gries, want die gries was sommer nog lewendig in sy wiele gewees.
Many that were established here in the village of Millwood. J.J. Hooper, a local farmer, discovered a gold nugget in a tributary of the Karata River in 1876. And as word got out, prospectors from all over the world invaded the Millwood forest near Knysna. The area was declared a gold field in 1886 and the village sprung up almost overnight. 200 diggers had already settled in Millwood by 1885 with 2,000 registered claims. But only 656 ounces of gold, just over 18.5 kilograms, was ever found at Millwood, and nearly all the mining companies had collapsed by 1890, leaving Millwood a ghost village by the early 1890s. Only 73 miners were left by 1893, and mining ceased in 1910, after which those miners who were still in the area joined the timber industry.
You will see Thyssen Island on your right there. As a far, I'm going to go via Hornley towards Knoetzie Mountain, after Knoetzie Beach. This is Hornley. You'll see we're flying past Hornley now. We're going to fly over Hornley, and then you're going to see the Thyssen Island on the right hand side, and Knysna Industrial on your right as well.
The little rivulet was later renamed Jubilee Creek to commemorate Queen Victoria's Jubilee.
We will go
Today,
to Jubilee Creek.
Creek is a favourite picnic spot amongst locals and visitors
Yeah, we will
alike.
go to
Not
Jubilee
only can
Creek
you
one
visit
day.
the Millwood Museum to learn more about South Africa's first gold rush, but you can also view some of the impressive mining equipment like the boiler, stamp battery and wheeler pan that have been restored to create a visual representation of a working production
That's the
line.
industrial area of
Or you could
Knysna.
walk along the creek
and
through
Thyssen
the mysterious
Island.
forest, view the mines of old. Who knows? You might even find that one big nugget of gold that the miners missed. Just before Millwood was declared a goldfield, a group of Italian families arrived in Knysna, just outside of Knysna. As told in Dali and Mathieu's book, Mulberry Forest, they were lured here to set up a silk farming industry in 1881. The mulberry forests they were promised didn't exist, and when they attempted to plant their own trees, the plants were attacked by pests.
You'll see Puzula, that's Puzula, the Puzula Hotel, and the Puzula Golf Course. And on your right hand side you will see the beach of Knoetzie now appearing on the left. That's yeah, that is the Knoetzie beach, and that's also Puzula. And yeah, it's actually quite a vast coastline.
The silk farming industry never came to be, and these disgruntled immigrants had to battle severe winter rains and fevers. While various single Italian men returned to Italy, most of the families eventually dispersed throughout South Africa. Only two of the original families stayed on in Knysna, and there are still prominent Italian names amongst the current residents of Knysna. Their community established the San Ambroso Church in Knysna in 1892, and today it's called the San Ambroso Chapel Museum. Those who decided to remain in Knysna were integrated into the communities of woodcutters, who took them under their wing and taught them the tricks of the trade when it comes to treating timber.
You'll see this is now Knoetzie castles. This is where the castles are in Knoetzie. You will see Puzula, Golf Estate, neighbors, the castles. Also a fire, you'll see the reminiscence of the fire in some areas of the satellite geometry is actually still present as we speak. Now we're flying over Knoetzie, and you can see the Knoetzie, the lagoon. It's a well-known lagoon as well, and you know, and a lot of day visitors usually go and visit Knoetzie. You know, you have to go via Wonley to get through to Knoetzie, and yeah, it's amazing. It's literally castles. I'm just going to make a one turn again.
Industrial area in 1984. The large sawmill building of 1919 has been incorporated into the Woodmill Lane shopping complex, which is today registered as a National Heritage Site. The harvested timber was also used to make pieces of famous Knysna furniture. By 1911, a training school for cabinet makers opened near Knysna, leading to a thriving industry of making quality furniture from indigenous timber. In 1914, the road between Knysna and George had 58 gates that had to be opened and closed, but by 1951, a tarred road between Knysna and Cape Town started luring holidaymakers to the area, giving birth to the estate industry. While the town developed around the old mill, the municipal entity, the Knysna, had been formed almost 10 years earlier. The naval township of Melville was laid out by the British Royal Navy in 1825 on a section of George Rex's farm Eastford, which he had ceded to the Cape Colonial Government. The village of New Haven was established on the northern section of the farm Melkote Kraal in 1845 by John Sutherland, who also built a timber school in 1847.
That's
The building of the school
again,
was closely followed by the
Knoetzie.
construction of the stone Anglican St. George's Church, which was consecrated in 1855. These two villages, Melville and New Haven, along with a wedge of land between the two that was a remaining portion of the farm Eastford, amalgamated in 1882, and the municipality called the Knysna was formed, named after the Knysna River. And as much as the rise and fall of the Salt River affected the lives of this valley's community, so did the estuary and the Indian Ocean beyond affect the lives of many of Knysna's residents. Infrastructure development caused by the growing mining industries in the rest of South Africa demanded that much of the timber sourced from the Knysna forest was exported from Knysna. And because of the natural harbour formed by the estuary, right on the main trade routes between the East and Europe, a lot of it was exported via boat. And this in turn led to the rise of a local boat building industry. Many families were supported through the work that husbands, fathers and brothers did at the Thiessens shipyard, known as the Knysna Boat Company.
Dat ons 'n seiljag vir Suid-Afrika gebou het wat daardie wêreldreisies gewen het.
Of course, Knysna and its estuary is not only famous for its fishing and the erstwhile boat-building industry, but for the Knysna oyster. In years gone by, intrepid collectors would collect so many of these little mollusks that they used donkeys to carry the bags of wild coastal oysters all the way from the beach at Buffalo Bay to Knysna, from where the Thyssen's company exported them to Cape Town. While you're not allowed to collect bags of them anymore, they still flourish in the wild water.
Oh my goodness, alright, there is Hornley as well. I think we lost some signal in the air. I don't know why. I have fiber in the aeroplane.
Along Knysna's coastline, waiting to be collected. If you have the correct license, that is. Knysna has certainly changed over the years. With a rich history in forestry, the timber industry, boat building, wooden furniture, and its association with the ocean, its estuary and bordering ocean abound with adventures and leisure activities, from water skiing to champagne cruises aboard luxury yachts. But it is through its people and their stories that the history of this town comes alive and is remembered and treasured for future generations. From a newly established municipality in 1882 with just over 1,000 residents, Knysna has evolved into a thriving community with over 71,200 residents in 2013, incorporating Noetzie, Knysna Town, Rinandal, Belvedere, Brenton, Buffalo Bay, Carratara, and Sedgefield. And while the town, its people, and surrounding areas have seen many changes throughout the years, it is still just as beautiful as when Chief Knysna first decided to call it home.
Quite interesting, huh? Okay, so yeah, we're gonna now go for a steep departure. And the Jubilee Creek, what they talked about, is on your right in this area. So I'm gonna Google it and see where Jubilee Creek is, and maybe there's some sort of landmarks, you know, what we could actually go and visit. Yeah, it was one interesting one. I've never knew the lesson from Knysna. I never bothered to listen. And it's some, you know, it's give a person some background towards, you know, the timber village and what Knysna was about.